It's an interesting job. It's you know, an interesting role to step into, being you know, an inspector, and you know, having the, you know, the whole the whodunit storylines, but you know, from a much more psychological, intelligent point of view. I mean, the scripts are great. I mean, that's really the main draw of the show, was that it's such a beautiful show, very high production values, and it looks great. And when I watched it, I was like, yeah, I'd love to be a part of that. I'd love to be. She holds her cards quite close to her chest. She doesn't like letting many people in. You know, Tony probably becomes quite close in terms of her having a friend, and even then there's a lot of things that she would find difficult to divulge when, you know, problems kick up with her home life. She really wants to share. You know, I don't get the feeling that she's had time for friends even, you know. I mean, she works all the time, she's got a son at home, so I think that's her world and her life, you know. And you know, Tony's become a friend because they share such a passion for what they do, and even so, when it comes to it, she finds it difficult to tell him what's going on with her. So she's fairly close that way. She's very proud. When it comes to the cases, she's learned how to work with Tony. She understands him now, but he does have a very different approach, which complements her approach. Her approach is much more pragmatic, and you know, she likes the forensics and the evidence and all the stuff that she knows will hold in court and will put the criminal away. But she has come to recognise that Tony's profiling, you know, he is able to help her catch the serial killer, you know, a lot quicker, and probably save lives. So, you know, I think a lot of people out there can identify with the situation. And it's great having a character that you can see their home life, and you know, all of that. You know, every episode it gives more and more personal information, which informs me as an actress as well. You know, it makes Alex become fuller and fuller. I think as an actress, I'm comfortable with relationship type roles, and you know, I enjoy, you know, when there's a lot of emotional content to the part. So the challenge for me is doing all the police work and delivering that kind of dialogue. And the most challenging usually is in the incident room, and suddenly, you know, you've got a whole room full of extras and crew, and I'm standing in the middle, and you have that little moment of, I'm back at school and I've got to do the nighttime stable. And then you just got to switch into the character, and out Simone, and then it happens, hopefully. To a certain extent, there's a big difference between me being a working mum and Alex being a working mum, and firstly to do with the fact that Alex is not part of a family. She's a single mum, so she doesn't have a support system. She doesn't like me have my mum and basically the whole family coming up when I'm working. She has the problem of finding a nanny, and then all the stuff that goes with that. You know, she sacks the nanny during this because she gets jealous, which I think happens quite a lot with mums. It certainly would with me, I would imagine. And therefore she has these temporary people coming in and out and trying to juggle the work. And so yes, it's difficult for her. It's very tough for her. And I think, you know, behind the scenes, the marriage breakup, which is obviously very acrimonious, is playing away and eating away at her. And you know, the father gets back in touch and obviously wants contact with his son after many years, and you know, all the problems that kicks up for her. I think that's true. I think having a child does make you more vulnerable as a person. It certainly makes, as a woman, it makes you much more emotional. And with Alex, the story that comes through with her son, I mean, without giving too much away, there's a storyline where he becomes at risk, and it takes her on a huge emotional journey. I think that Robson and I work well together. We both enjoy the work. We both have a very similar sense of humour. He makes me laugh a lot, and we've, you know, each episode we've learned how to work with one another, and you know, you slowly build up a trust, and you learn how each other works, and you know, it becomes like a dance, really. It's an interesting job, and I certainly like the suits, and obviously the office. Yeah, it's hard to imagine though when you're an actor doing anything else, because you get a taste of lots of different types of jobs and career, and I like that change, basically. Yeah, I enjoy my job. I don't think I'd swap it. Yeah, I mean, that's a hope, that you develop a character that you can step into, so that you don't have moments like I was speaking to you before about, where you know, you're standing in front of a crew and you feel like yourself, and you feel exposed properly, like I do in this interview. But you know, that you step into a character and you become so involved in the story, and that carries you, and it actually makes the job a lot easier than when you don't have a character to put on, you know, that you can embody. Yeah, and there is a craft to it. It's not always as easy as it looks. Yeah, and it's a skill that you learn, you know. And I've learned a lot from working with Robson, who's very professional, and you know, he's a great technician as well as an actor. It's a difficult question, really. I don't know what the answer to that is. I mean, we're living in a very violent society. I suppose there could be an argument, you know, whether life imitates art that way, and I hope that's not true. I hope that we're basically drawing on life, and yeah, you know, I mean, I know that there's a few of the storylines. I've definitely been inspired by true life situations, and even recently, you know, where I'm staying at the moment while I'm doing the job, there's one of my neighbours who basically is a real life, or he was head of CID, and speaking to him about some of the, you know, some of the cases that he has dealt with in the past, you know, you see a lot of similarities with the storylines, so, you know, they're not that far-fetched. Obviously, there's more serial killers than per square foot in Bradfield. Not the place to buy a house, maybe, but yeah, no, you know, they're drawing a lot of fact. It's well researched. Just another draw to doing the show.